everyone, Mr. Johnny here with Virtually BGCMC. In this video, I'm going to show you how to draw Beast Boy from Teen Titans. All you're going to need is a paper, pencil, and eraser. So go ahead and grab those things and let's dive in. All right, here we go, Beast Boy. So we're going to start off as usual with our basic shapes, but our basic shapes are going to be a little bit different than usual. What I mean by that, instead of working with typical circles, ovals, squares, and things like that, we're going to be kind of making up our own shapes here as we go. So for the head, what we want to do is go straight across here first. This is going to be the top of the head around here. And then we're going to go down. As we go down lower, his face is going to get a little bit wider. And as we get to the bottom where his cheeks are, we're going to curve in going this way. Okay. Same thing on this side. Keeping my drawing very light for now in these beginning stages, because as we get deeper into the drawing, we're going to make a lot of adjustments and corrections. So if we draw lightly, then it's just going to make it a lot easier to erase later when we need to. Now, this is the basic head shape here, and the body is going to be pretty similar, except it's just going to be longer. So I'm going to start here. We don't want to make the body too wide, so I'm going to mark here and here. These are going to be the starting points. And then as we go down, the body's going to get a little bit wider. And curve in here at the bottom this way. And same thing on this side. Curve in. Okay, so what I mean by getting wider at the bottom, if you could tell here at the top of the head, it's a little more narrow than at the bottom. You see that? And then the same thing goes for the body here. It's thinner, and then as it gets to the bottom, it gets a little bit wider. All right, so we got the head, the body. We're gonna put the limbs in here. So the arm, we'll start with this arm, and it's actually gonna overlap this part of the body. So we're eventually gonna end up erasing this line here. But for now, we'll just get the arm in here, going down this way. And he has quite long arms, given the proportions of his body. So you wanna make sure you go down pretty low here, just like that. And then this arm is gonna start here. Actually, I should have started the arm a little bit lower on this side, about here, instead of starting right where the head is. That's because we want to leave some room for the collar here. So let me make that adjustment real quick. Okay. And then this arm, we're gonna start around here, just giving a little space between the head and the shoulder, so we could put the collar in later. But this arm is gonna come down this way. It's bending, so it's gonna stick out a little bit more than this one. Okay. And then we're gonna curve around this way. And for now, we're just drawing the arms. We're not gonna put the hands in yet. We're gonna save that until we get to the details. Just trying to get an idea of the placement for all the body parts to start off with. And for the legs, actually the legs we're gonna stick to the same concept as the head and body, where they start thinner on top and then they get wider down towards the bottom. So I'm gonna start here, come down this way. And then I'm gonna start pretty close here to the other line, about there. And then as I go down, the line gets a little bit wider and a little bit wider. See the difference between here and here and here and here? Okay, same thing for this leg. And there we go. So these are all the basic shapes we need. It looks like this one's turning out a little bit smaller than this one, but that's okay. Now, as we get into the actual details, what I'm gonna do first actually is draw a vertical midline here for the head. And since his head is turned to the side, the midline is not gonna be right down the middle. I'm gonna turn it a little bit here to the side that he's looking towards. Okay. And then I'm gonna do a horizontal midline going this way. Just trying to divide the face into equal parts, okay? Which they're actually not equal because, again, his face is turned. Now from here, I'm actually gonna put the ear in. We're gonna go this way. Up and out first. And then as we go back down, this line here is what we would call a S curve because it's a line with two curves in it, like the letter S. So I'm gonna curve this way first. When I get to about here, I'm gonna switch the direction of that curve and finish off the ear, just like that. You don't wanna make the ear too low because you still wanna see this curve in the jaw. Now that we have our ear in place, these guidelines here, we don't need it to see anymore. So I'm gonna go ahead and erase those. Sometimes when I'm drawing for myself, I'll wait until the very end to erase all these guidelines. But just to give you a clear view of where this drawing is going, I'm gonna get rid of them as we don't need them. So here we got the ear shape. Now to add this extra dimension to the ear, like it's folded over, what we're gonna do is come up here to the top and we're gonna do pretty much almost the same kind of S curve as we did here. So we'll start here at the top and we'll curve this way and that way. Okay. So now that we got the ear in place, we're gonna move on to the hairline here. From here, what we wanna do is go up first. I'm putting a little curve in this line here. In just a little bit. And then we're gonna go over this way. Before I get to the midline, I'm gonna put one of these spikes in his hair here. And then I'm gonna go all the way to the outside, put another spike there. Now, as we get to these three spikes, you're gonna notice each spike, it gets a little bit further away from the head than the last. Okay, so keep that in mind as we do these next three. So this next one is gonna come out here a little further than this one. Okay, and then this last one, again, a little further out than the last. And here we're gonna swoop it with a big S curve going all the way back here, up and over, pretty much to the back of his head. So the back of his head would be here. If you imagine this would be his skull, then we want to come all the way back here with the hair. And once we get back here, we're going to do these three little spikes, kind of like cowlicks on his hair. Okay. And then we could go ahead and drop it back, the hair back, tuck it behind the ear, and that's it. What you want to make sure with the hair is that you're going well past this original shape that we drew. Okay, so again, if we're imagining this is his skull, the hair, even on real people, the hair goes pretty far above the skull, you know, depending on the hairstyle and how thick the person's hair is. But you want to make sure you leave this room in here between the top of the hair and the skull. Okay, and since we don't need these lines here anymore, I'll get rid of them. All right, now let's move on to the next ear actually on this side. So if you notice, I started this ear right on the horizontal midline. So that's where we want to start the next ear as well. But this one, because it's turned away from us, we're not going to be seeing as much of it. All we need to do really is go straight up here and then S curve down and stop right there where the cheek is. Okay. Now here on this fold, we're seeing a lot more of it. So we're showing it with the S curve, the fold of the ear. But here, we're not seeing as much of the ear. So all we're gonna draw is one line going down that way. Okay. I'm gonna darken up the line here for the head shape. So when I darken up the lines on these drawings, that's pretty much signaling that I'm locking those lines in, that they're going to be part of the final drawing. I know I'm not going to erase them later or change them. So when I darken up these lines, it's just saying that, you know, I'm pretty confident that it'll be here in the end. The lines that are light, I leave them light because I might want to erase them later on. So anyways, moving on to the actual facial features, we're gonna do the eyes here. And I like to start the eyes just by making some curves here on top first. Okay. So right now I'm kind of just measuring and testing out like the size and placement of the eyes. So I'm going lightly and I'm just drawing part of them first, the top and then the bottom down here. Okay. And I kind of like the size and placement of them. So I'm going to go ahead and move forward. Here, I'm going to draw the pupils and I'm going to make them pretty big. I'm making them face or look in this way here, but for your drawing, if you want to change the way he's looking, the direction he's looking in any kind of way, you can feel free to do that. In fact, any part of this drawing that you want to change or customize, please feel free to. This is really just like the starting point, like the base drawing to get you started, hopefully. And then once you get the drawing done, hopefully you'll add anything that you want to it and just add your own creativity. It's always fun when we have our live sessions, seeing all the students, what they come up with on their own, just starting from, you know, these drawings, the base point. So, you know, I'll see some kids add color, add other characters, add a background, all sorts of things. Okay. So we got the eyes in place, and actually what I'm gonna do is connect the top and bottom here. I'll connect them like this. I'll connect the outside first and see how it looks. I might do another line going on the inside like it is here. But for now, I kind of want to experiment and just see how this looks. Okay, now we're going to put the eyebrows in. He has very thick eyebrows, so what I like to do is I'll start with this bottom curve, get that in place, and then from there, I'll add the sides, and then just close it up. Quite simple. I'll shade in the eyebrows too. Okay. Then we got the next one here. Same thing. I'll draw the bottom first. Then the sides. And then close it up here and shade it. Okay. So now with the nose, I want to try to get right here at the lower level of the eyes. And then I'm using the midline here just to make sure the nose is even on both sides here. Really, these are just his nostrils here that we're drawing. And then from here, let me darken this up a little bit. I kind of like the look of the eyes this way. I think I might keep it. We'll see until the very end though. Okay, so the mouth is pretty wide. So you could go all the way, more or less from one end of the eyes to the other. Okay, I got a little smile, more of a smirk on mine. But again, if you want to change his expression in any way, please feel free. And then I'm gonna add the fang right here. All right, looking pretty good. Just gonna clean up some lines here and there before we move on to the body. Okay, nice. Now moving on to the body. First, I'm gonna add a collar here by curving out on the side first. Each side I'm gonna curve out this way. Okay. And then from each curve, the bottom part, connect them. There we go. Now we got his collar in place. We don't need this anymore. Let me get rid of that. Okay. And actually, I think I might have made this arm a little long, so I'm gonna shorten it up just a little bit. Actually, what I'll do is I'll start his wrist here. Now the wrist for his glove, it's gonna be wider than the actual arm. So you wanna start with a rectangle first. Like that, that's gonna be his the wrist on his glove, as you can see. And then I'll get rid of this part. Okay. So his hands, I did a pretty simplified version of his hands here. How we're gonna do this is first we'll get this side down this way. And then we're gonna cut across, going here, up. And then here, we're just gonna add his thumb, down, across, and right in there. Okay. So this is the basic shape of his hand. And now we're going to add 3 lines here, here, and here. That's gonna divide all his fingers. Okay. So we got that hand done. Now working on, let's actually move on to the belt before we do this backhand here. So the belt, we're gonna start here in the middle, circle, and then there's actually a gap between the buckle and the rest of the belt here. You want to make sure this overlaps the actual part of the body on this side. Okay. Right. And then here, I'll start it tucked back here behind the arm, go across, and then leave the gap between the belt and the buckle. And close it up there. I'll darken up this part here of his body as well. Okay. So I'm gonna erase this line here. I'm gonna draw a line going down the belt, but I'm gonna put it a little bit more towards this end here. And then same thing on this side. Okay. Now this arm is gonna be bent, or it's already bent. I'm gonna darken up the lines here. Okay. Now here, I'm actually going to start the wrist on his glove at this point. Draw it going down. And then I'll get the arm to connect there. So we got the wrist, and then we have his hand curling down this way. Okay. So we're almost there. We're gonna get into the legs here. Darken up these lines. Okay. Looking pretty good so far. Now for this foot, it's facing towards us. So what we're gonna do, the tongue of the shoe is gonna go all the way across like this. Okay, so this is the tongue of the shoe here. And then from here, we're gonna curve this way just a little bit, and then the same thing on this side, because we're basically just seeing the toe of his shoes here. Okay, and this foot is going to be a little bit different because it is turned away from us. So we're going to start here. Actually, you want to leave a little bit room. You see how this line is a little bit shorter than this one. So we're going to cut across first and then get the toe in here. Okay, back to the heel. And then the tongue is going to be more off to the side like this. Okay, so there we go. That's Beast Boy. We have all the details in place, but before I call it mine a finished drawing, I'm gonna give it one last look and make any corrections or just clean anything up that needs to be cleaned up to make this a really nice clean drawing. So I'm gonna get rid of these guidelines. I'm going to play around with some of these lines. You know, when you're drawing like this, using just lines and really no shading except for like here and here, what you could do is play around with the size, dark, like how thick your lines are on certain parts, and even how light or how dark your lines can be. If you play around, they call that line weight or line quality. If you play around with all that stuff, you could end up with a more interesting drawing than you thought. So as you could tell, some of these lines I'm making a little bit thicker than the others. Some I'm leaving kind of light, some thick and some thin. But I think for now, I will call this finished. And I actually kind of like how, maybe I like this one a little bit more than this one. I'm not sure quite yet. But anyways, that's our drawing for today. Hope you all enjoyed, and we would love to see your drawings. So if you'd like to send them in, we have in the description box below the email that you could take a picture of your drawing and send them into, and you could possibly be even featured on our social media or our website. So hope to see your drawings coming in, and we'll catch you in the next draw along. Bye.